Hello, how are you guys all doing? Welcome, of course, back to Rule of Two Review, and man, oh man, do we have to get into it again today with GameStop. So this will be about the second time within the last month or so that I've had a reason to talk about GameStop, and we all know the reason I had to talk about them a month ago, and it was the wonderful and fun and everyone loves information about the Circle of Life program that they introduced and planned to continue to roll out and introduce throughout this course of the next year at all of their stores, and it created these unfortunate sales practices and a bunch of sales pressure for their employees that were creating nefarious business motives and all these different things, and it was a pretty big scandal. And when I made my video about that, I really didn't think that it was going to be something that people who watch my channel really cared about, because it really has nothing to do with what I normally talk about, other than the fact that it's a video game retailer. But it turns out that that was actually a very popular video. It had a lot of views for what I'm used to, and for the most part, people actually really enjoyed it too. So I appreciated that for me, going into a business-minded kind of topic and less about gaming and gaming companies and video games, but talking about the business of a retailer and the business troubles that they were getting into, the financial trouble. I was surprised that people received it so well, but kind of really goes to show you how far this topic and how integrated into the gaming culture GameStop really has become. It also kind of makes it all that much more impactful that we have to talk about them again today. And to give a quick preface and a quick recap that I also laid out on that last video about GameStop, is I did actually work for GameStop throughout almost the entire 6th generation, from 2002 to 2005, 3 years. I did work for GameStop. And what's always been troubling with me about them when they're in the news for bad things is that when I think back to those 3 years in the early 2000s, it was 3 of the absolute best years of my life. And partly, if not hugely, because I was working for GameStop in an assistant manager role, and I loved it, and the company was great, and the customers I knew were great, the friends and coworkers and my boss, everyone was awesome. They were going to promote me and give me all these raises and turn me into a manager and all these different things. And at the time, in my early 20s, it was like heaven. And the 6th generation was a great time to be working for that company and to be working in the gaming industry. I actually missed the days of the 6th generation. I think that there was more purity kind of in the gaming space and amongst gamers and that kind of culture that we had together back then. And it's been a little bit diluted with how the 7th gen and now the 8th generation has been playing out with the online thing. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Point is, I loved that time and I loved working for the company, so talking about them in a negative light is definitely hard for me to do, but that doesn't mean that I can't call them out and really discuss the problems that they're going through. So what's happening with GameStop right now is they recently announced that they're going to be shutting down a lot of their stores. Now, to my knowledge, it's in the range of 2 to 3% of their stores, which I think equates to worldwide between 200 and 250 stores. And that's a lot. I mean, you know, 3% might not sound like a lot because it's only 3%, but they have like over 7,000, I think almost 8,000 stores. So when you think about 250 stores closing down, that's a lot. That is a lot of stores, and that is a lot of jobs. That is probably 1,000 people that don't have jobs. 250 stores could very well equal 1,000 people, probably even more than 1,000 people, because, I mean, that's, you know, there's more than 4 people probably that are employed by any one GameStop. So that could be upwards of 1,500 people out of a job, and a company that really ultimately existed just to bring fun, awesome gaming to us, having to go through financial woes and close stores does suck. Like, on the surface level, that sucks. But the thing is, why GameStop is doing it. Now, initially, the claims are that they apparently, throughout the last year, 2016, suffered a 13.6% loss in profit sales over the previous year, which I think I read equates to around $3 billion. So essentially, they lost $3 billion in profit in 2016 compared to 2015. I believe that's how the numbers shake out. Now, that's a lot of money, you guys. We can't pretend that that's not a lot of money, even for a, you know, million and billion-dollar company like GameStop. If you're losing money, that's a problem, regardless. At least if you're losing profit, because the fear and the worry and the typical trend is that that drop is going to continue to increase. And then at some point, you're going to be going into the red, and then everyone is in for a shit show, and it's just no good for anybody. So what I wanted to discuss with my history working for the company, with my history as an adult, as an employed adult with a career working in the sales field. I work in a financial field now, but I do not work in like a sales or any sort of like customer or client interaction business, but I have many times at many different jobs in the past. I wanted to discuss what's really going on, and a lot of people have already talked about this. This is like 5 days late, to tell you the truth. There's been some really great videos by a couple of people and YouTubers that I really like. Review Tech USA, Sean Long, who is RGT85. They made some really good videos about this as well, discussing what's going on. So it's not so much that I'm going to blow anyone's mind, but I have to get out why this is a problem and how GameStop really created this scenario for themselves. So we all know why this is happening. And it's because GameStop has done a piss-poor job adapting to the gaming landscape and the overall gaming market and what the consumers are looking for, how people purchase and digest and have access to their games, whether it's digital or physical or whatever. They have done absolute shit all to adjust to the online market of selling and reselling video games and many other different things. And it's like, well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to end up losing money because people are going to end up going to the competition. So, I mean, the biggest thing everyone brings up is, of course, digital games. It's now so easy and convenient to download games right to your consoles and your PC. And I, as someone who does not care for that at all, if you know me, you know that that's true. I buy everything I can physical if I can. It's the absolute way I prefer it. I don't have any real room in my life for downloading a game, especially for full price. $50, $60 for just a file that exists on a box. That is no interest to me. But it is huge interest and value to many gamers. I mean, millions upon millions of gamers. I think even EA said they had between 30 or 35% of their sales for all games last year were digital. I mean, that is a third. That is coming up, you know, bordering on half of their games being sold digitally. I mean, that's only probably going to increase down the road. And I've talked about it many times. I certainly am fearful for the all-digital future, but I know within the next 15 or 20 years we're going to get there. So, you know, a lot of people prefer to do that, and GameStop that's not their market. They're selling physical games. They're a brick and mortar store that you have to get in your car and drive to pick up games, and that's fine. But they haven't really understood, other than selling PSN points and eShop points in card form in their store, they haven't really understood how to work around that and convince people more than ever to come into the stores and own their games physically as opposed to purchasing them digitally online. To me, the other huge killer and huge nail in the coffin, and this is stuff I even talked about on that video a month ago, and again, other people have been talking about as well, is the straight up competition for even physical game delivery. So they're not only getting their ass handed to them in the digital space because they offer nothing to combat people downloading games digitally, they are totally getting the floor wiped with their faces in terms of buying physical games, because what Amazon and Best Buy offer is 1,000 times better than what it costs to go into a GameStop and buy your game at full price. Most of you guys know this. Amazon Prime, if you're an Amazon Prime member, for the first 2 weeks that a game is released and available, you save 20%. That's $12 on a $60 game, on a brand new game, let alone if it's a special edition or whatever the hell else you might be buying. And even if it's cheaper, even if it's a $30 or $40 game day one, you're saving 20%, 1/5 of the price you're saving right away. And with Amazon Prime, you of course get shipping for free, and 9 times out of 10, I can attest that it's not 10 times out of 10, but 9 times out of 10, that game is going to arrive at your doorstep the very day that it releases. Maybe it's later in the day. I usually get mine at like 8 o'clock at night, but it's still pretty sweet when you think about it. I save so much money, and I get it delivered right to me, don't have to drive anywhere, and I still get it the actual day that it launches. That's incredible what Amazon Prime is doing there. And then Best Buy apparently has, a lot of people have been talking about this the last couple of months, this Gamers Club where for like $30 a year you get 20% off of all your games, and I think you're accruing points towards other purchases. So Amazon and Best Buy have these really awesome programs that, yes, they have a buy-in price. They're different varying prices, but they're annual buy-in prices that give you consistent deals and benefits and make it so easy for you to get your physical games while also saving money. And GameStop has absolutely, completely put their head in the sands when it comes to this concept. And that, to me, is the biggest reason that they have been getting their ass handed to them. And I gotta tell you, as somebody who would otherwise love to shop at GameStop, until Best Buy and Amazon started these things a couple of years ago and I started taking advantage of Amazon, I always went into GameStop to pick up my games, and I love going to midnight launches of games and waiting in lines with my friends and other people and other nerds and just shooting the shit about whatever it is we're gonna pick up. Like, that's great, and I love that environment. But at this point, it is way more efficient and economically important for me to use Amazon and have the game arrive to me for free on the day that it launches for $20, 20% less than I would pay if I went all the way to GameStop at midnight to pick this game up. I have no reason to shop at GameStop. As much as I have loved them in the past, and I loved working for them, and I appreciate them as a business, yeah, no way. Why would I even possibly think about doing that? For further example, I want to reference Sean Long, RGT85. Really great dude. We are acquaintances, you can say. I know we've commented on each other's videos, and we did a podcast with OJ and Player Essence a couple of months ago as well. Really cool guy, and I really like his channel. Hopefully you know it. I'm going to link this video below where he discusses this. He brought up a good point, and I don't remember the game he was using, but he said it was Has Been Heroes for the Nintendo Switch, which is a Games Trust GameStop company published game. Only available at GameStop. You can't get it at Amazon or Best Buy. So he had to go to, this is a great example. I'm so glad I watched him bring this point up. He went to GameStop's website to purchase this game, the only place available, and sure enough, you have to pay full price, and you have to wait for shipping. And you have to pay for shipping, and you have to wait for shipping. So he's paying full price to get the game with paid shipping that costs him a couple of bucks, and he has to wait whatever several days or a week to actually get the game delivered to his house. As opposed to the Amazon version, which would be 20% less, delivered to you for free and on the day it launches. That GameStop themselves basically they cannibalized their own face with that. It's like so obscene and insulting that that's how their whole system and their business model is playing out when the competition is doing so much better. Now, of course, a company has the right to do what they're doing, and they want to try to make money in all the best ways that they can, so they don't offer some of these deals. That's fine. But what happens is, once the competition shows up and starts offering better deals and saving people money, if you don't adapt and adjust your business model to be able to do so and still be profitable, you will get devoured, because that is how competition works. I've used this analogy before. Without the Whopper, the Big Mac would cost $10. But because the Whopper exists, the Big Mac has to cost less, which means the Whopper has to then cost even less. And the two just continually battle to make sure that one of them is always a better value than the other. GameStop, again, has had their head in the sand and not paying attention to what Amazon and Best Buy and other companies are doing. And they're just getting totally crushed in the grinder. And it's completely their fault. And you want to know what the actual worst part about this is? This is going to blow your mind. And believe it or not, I think there's something even worse than these unfortunate business decisions that GameStop has been making. And it's what their actual response to this loss of money has been. And what that was is what we talked about a month ago, the Circle of Life program. And it's part of the reason I made that video was to discuss why has GameStop gone this route? Why have they decided to create this program before, of course, the cat was let out of the bag and the lid got blown off publicly, and then they had to retract and get rid of that thing. But when they initially thought of it and started rolling it out and saying, all this sales pressure, you got to get all these things, you got to get the card subscriptions, you got to get games reserved, now you have to start selling used product, and you have to, make sure we want as little new product being sold, and blah, blah, blah. All these really harsh metrics being associated with an employee's performance, which cause these bad business practices. Why did that happen? Because when GameStop started to see that they were getting their ass royally kicked by these other entities that are doing so much better of a job providing a great value to us, the gamer, who want to buy our games for the best price and make it as easy as possible, instead of offering something similar and trying to combat that by giving the gamer a better deal, let's think about this for a minute. Instead of giving the gamer and the consumer a better deal, they decided to squeeze and morally destroy their employees into selling more and selling worse product than what people actually walk into their stores to buy. Think about that for a minute. That is their reaction to losing money by better deals from the competitor was to create an absolutely horrid and abhorrent sales practice that absolutely was destroying their employees and creating horrible, shitty deals for the people walking into the stores to buy games. That is disgusting to me, and I hate to say that because it's part of the reason I gave the preface at the beginning of this video of why I loved GameStop when I worked for them and why 10, 15 years ago they were an awesome company. This is what they've become. This is the monster this big corporate company had become since merging with EB right after I left in 2005, and all these different things and the way that they've changed and, pursued all this really crappy BS like pre-order digital bonus things like, oh, you get a gun or a weapon skin if you pre-order from GameStop. Haha, something really crappy that's not worth the $5. And it's like, dude, you guys are so lost. You guys are so flailing in the wind without a damn clue to your name as to how to make sure that you're providing a proper service to your consumer. And the beautiful thing of this whole disgusting, dirty mess is that the gamer has sniffed it out. And all of us who are talking about it, and all of us who are upset about it, and all of us who recognize that all of these things that they've done over this last year has been a problem, we're able to say, yeah, we see through you, GameStop. We're not going to buy into that. And thank God the lid did get blown open on the whole Circle of Life thing, and GameStop was like, oh, I guess we got to change that. Yeah, you should change that because you should be a smarter business. That's not how you become successful, and it's not how you overcome a problem by doing those horrible things to your employees and to your consumers. You have to adjust your business plan, and you have to offer deals. You have to see what the competitor's doing and adjust. You don't just start trying to get more money. You have to save more money and create consumer trust. You freaking idiots. At this point, I'm just going to keep rambling about this. So I do hate being angry at GameStop, but I had to be angry at GameStop. I wanted to talk about this and discuss what I think is really going on. And I think the unfortunate decision they made to try to, you know, figure out what the hell to do. And now, unfortunately, they're dealing with the oats that they have sown. And they are sadly closing these stores. I don't want these stores to close. I don't necessarily want the company to go away, and I don't want people to lose their jobs. I want the company to fix its problem. I want them to become that great, ideal, quintessential, ultimate gaming experience, shopping experience. Again, I want them to be that store, the go-to place for the best reasons to buy your games. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. I don't know, now that they're having to close these stores and they're losing $3 billion in revenue, are they going to see the writing on the wall and fix it, or are they just going to go out of you know, just go out of business completely and not really know what to do or how to fix this problem? Who even knows? But I really wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to hear what you guys have to say about it. Does this make sense? Have you seen these other folks' videos? Again, make sure to check out Sean Lawn's video. I'm going to have it linked below as well. You know, and what do you guys think? Does this make you angry like it makes me? Do you not really care? Have you hated GameStop for a while? Most people seem to have done that. I personally would like to see them fix everything and just become a great place to go buy games again, and we'll see if that happens, but right now I don't have a whole lot of faith in that. So, I don't know, that's it today on the whole GameStop fiasco. Tell me what you guys think about this whole thing. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you guys next time on another video.